Well, hello there, and welcome to Frankie Sense and More. It's Thursday. It's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Hope you are having a fantastic day, and it's all full of love. My day certainly has been, so that's wonderful. I have a very special Valentine treat for you, and you are just going to love this lady. Her name is Susan Honeygood, I guess we should say that. She's the founder of honeygood.com. It's an award-winning online destination with a mission to encourage women over 50 to be visible, vibrant, and self-confident, as well as to inspire the next generation. So Honey reinvented herself in her 60s, and today she's a lifestyle expert and influencer. Her site, honeygood.com, ranks in Feedspots top 75 of baby boomer blogs. How fantastic is that? She's also the grandmother to 25 children and spends her time living in both Rancho Mirage, California, and Chicago. Now, she has a new book. It just came out this February, 2019, Stories from My Grandchild. And it's a beautiful keepsake journal for the 21st century grandmother. And it contains writing prompts that are tailored to capture contemporary woman's life, her family history, her memoirs, her values, and her personality. So how about that? Let's meet this woman with the Moxie. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
And happy Valentine's Day to you.
And happy Valentine's Day to you and to all our listeners.
I love that, I went on your site this morning and it started off with how to put red lipstick on.
Oh, I love my red lipstick.
I wear my red lipstick too because I love it. And I think there comes a point, where you can really wear it well when you get to be our age.
I think so.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about your reinvention. What were you doing before your reinvention?
Before my reinvention, I was very, very busy. And one day I woke up and decided I didn't like the busyness I was busy doing. And I decided to look for a new purpose. I was a grandmother, which I do love, a wife, a mother. I was with my girlfriends. I love being with my girlfriends, and I believe women need women. Mm-hmm. But I was restless, and I was just looking for a more fulfilling purpose.
And how old were you when that happened?
I was in my middle 60s, early 60s.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that there comes a time, I wrote a book about it, Midlife Mojo, and that can happen at any time, where you kind of wake up one day and you go, you know what, I need more purpose. I need a deeper purpose. I need to feel something more than what I'm doing right now. And I think we all kind of, hopefully we wake up to that. So
yes,
that's what happened for you.
I think it's very important to stay vibrant and visible. And we do that when we do relevant things that make us feel good.
And it's so interesting that you talk about visibility, because in my other book that I wrote in my first chapter, I said, I hit a certain age, and I think it was 50-ish, 55 maybe, where I felt invisible, where people didn't look at you anymore. And it almost didn't matter. Like I used to really care, if my makeup was done, I wouldn't go out in running shoes or anything like that. But then there came a point where, hey, nobody really cared. They didn't even look at me anymore. And that visibility, and I don't know if I was invisible because I felt invisible or I was invisible. Don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are that women pride themselves in how they carry themselves and their looks. And our society is geared toward the young. Mm-hmm. I believe that every age has a beauty. And I think that 80% of beauty is inner beauty. I found that many women, not just you, were feeling very invisible. And so it bothered me. And I thought about it for quite a while. And then I decided to put together a group of women. And that started my explosion of groups. Because as I said, women need women. And when you're in a group setting, you're able to communicate your feelings, and you oftentimes come into a marvelous answer.
I think it's so exciting that you exploded the way that you did. 200,000 followers, like that's pretty impressive.
I know, 250,000.
Yeah, very impressive.
I know. I can't believe this is happening, though I have worked very hard. But at the beginning and until the last few years, Honeygood was actually a hobby. to make me feel very visible.
Right, right.
Now it's a business.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes, and I'm
That's
very
exciting.
excited and extremely happy because I make others happy.
You do. So how are women finding you? Did they find you through your articles or the blog? Like, how did they actually say, gee, there's this Honey Good woman out there and I'm going to follow her?
Well, they have found me through Facebook, Honey Good Facebook. They have found me through Instagram. They have found me through my website, honeygood.com. They have found me through friends who mentioned to them, oh, have you read Honey Good lately? And then I was very fortunate to have been written up in the New York Times last, 3 months or 4 months ago. And that really catapulted me into the limelight because women were very interested in being together and being in groups.
So what was the article about? What did they write about?
Well, what they wrote about was that the importance of groups.
Oh, okay.
And they came to me because of my group settings. The latest group that I put together was multi-generational, and that has really exploded. My first group was so incredible because the youngest was 28
Oh,
and
wow.
the oldest was 97.
Okay.
And I put together this group of people that didn't know one another or casually knew one another. And 2.5 hours later, these women were sharing information. So in the meantime, I have started what is called Moxie, and it's called Be Moxie Now. And it is a group on my private honeygood.com, and it acts more or less like Facebook, but it's just between me and the girls and their friends.
It's interesting, isn't it, how women can meet in a moment, just unload everything, like tell you everything about themselves.
It's uncanny.
Yeah.
I was on an airplane not too long ago, and I found out where to buy our new pooch from a perfect stranger.
That's funny. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Wow. It's so you've got the private Moxie group, and Moxie is a really fun name. And I heard you describe it on your website, but why don't you describe it for anyone who's listening? What is Moxie?
Moxie, I believe every woman has Moxie. You can be a quiet woman and you still have your Moxie, or you can be a woman that walks into a room, lights it up with her gregarious smile, and she has Moxie. I believe that every woman has Moxie, especially women over 50, because we've lived. We've had our hills, we've had our valleys. We know what's between our ears, and now we have quite a long time to invest in it and grow from it and continue our Moxie and bloom.
What is the biggest complaint, fear? I don't know what we complain. I mean, just disgruntlement, let's say, that you hear from women. What do they want? What do they want from you, and what do they want? What's missing from their lives, do you think? Is there like one that's overarching?
I think women, after they become empty nesters, mm-hmm. or unfortunately are widowed or divorced, they're lonely, mm-hmm. and they really become, they start to feel very invisible. Once you join this group and you see that you're not alone, that you have comrades in arms, so to speak, you can start marching to your own drummer, hopefully.
So
once again,
are these women getting together physically? Are they doing stuff, or like what's happening?
Well, two things are happening. Women are getting together on the outside. They are also getting together on BeMoxieNow.com on the inside within my website. And what's happening, we just sent out an email blast, so we're just actually on the ground level with Be Moxie Now. these women have the opportunity to join different groups that are being set up on Moxie. It could be gardening. It could be travel, solo travel, let's say. It could be anything. So they have the opportunity to either join a group, or if they choose to, they can start their own group. The other option they have is they can invite their friends to join Be Moxie Now, and everything is free. So it's just the girls getting together.
So I noticed on your site things I love in all the products. So is this how you make money from your site?
The way I make money from my site is through sponsorships and advertisers. And I have written a book.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
I was approached by quite a famous company in New York, Abrams Books, who found me on the internet. They were looking for what they said was a hip 21st century grandmother, and they chose me.
Nice.
To write this wonderful book. And actually, this book is not about me. It's about every grandmother all over the world. Because what I did, I wrote the prompts, and the grandmother is going to have the opportunity to write her life story to leave to her grandchildren, who hopefully will give it to their children and their children.
That's really exciting premise. I love that. You know, I after my mom passed away, and there were some things, she never wanted to talk about some private things. But there were things as a daughter and just as a mother and grandmother myself that, you know, I wanted to know about her, especially her younger days, you know, when she was young and she was in her 20s, and what were her hopes and dreams and desires, and what was she fulfilled and what wasn't, those kinds of things. And I think it's exciting and good to know, you know, those things. I just finished a memoir about my dad for the same reason, so that I would be able to give that to my children and his great-grandchildren. You know?
I think that's wonderful that you're doing that. And my book, it actually starts with the beginning of the grandmother's life. And one of the questions is, what were the problems you had in high school?
Yeah, I love that.
What was your first date like? So it delves into the entire life of this grandmother. And I feel with this book that I am really giving back. Because I'm the co-author with the grandma, and yeah. I would like to read
please, yeah,
one quick little.
We got lots of time, honey. Read whatever you want.
Okay. So at the beginning of the book, I wrote to all of the grandmothers an opening statement, and the last paragraph is this: with the gift of this journal, your grandchildren will know you for more than kisses and comfort. They will learn about their family through your stories, and more importantly, about the values that they will hand down to future generations. So that's the essence of this book.
It's beautiful.
That can be found on Amazon and, of course, in bookstores.
Sure.
All over the world, actually.
And I'd like to encourage, you know, it's hard to write about yourself sometimes, but I would really love to encourage whoever, you know, decides that they want to write to their grandchild to be really honest. Like, tell them the warts and all, because everybody has them. And if you gloss that over, then it's almost like, why did you bother writing this? Don't you think?
I agree. And that's why on one of the pages, I said that please leave your grandchildren your message and your values. I want this to be very personal. Mm-hmm. And like you said, how wisely you said this, don't gloss over your life. Tell it like it is, because your grandchildren have had their ups and downs and their hills and valleys. And when they see that you have also, that will make them feel more secure within themselves. That
absolutely.
It's part of life, right?
Yeah, absolutely, is part of life. And, you know, this part of life, and I think the idea of having the group is perfect because, you know, I talked about in my other book about how when we go to high school or go through adolescence, we go through it together with all our friends. But when we go through midlife let's say, we go through it alone. We don't have that group to maneuver with us. And because it can happen at 45 or 65, it's different for everybody. And so everybody's stage is different. They're not all going into high school or grade 9 or seniors or whatever. So it's important for us to have a group, especially because it can be so lonely, the stage of our life. Like you said, once those kids leave, we're sitting there going, okay, now what do I do? You know, you can hang around for so long, and then like you, I had to reinvent. I'm always reinventing myself and what I do. It's fun, but some people don't know how to do that.
I know.
They don't know how.
They don't know how. And I'll tell you what I think. I think that when you want to make a change, the most important thing that we all face is the decision.
Yeah.
And so many of us, to include myself, are afraid of the decision process. But what I have learned through my errors is that I must not fear making a decision, because either way, I'm a winner, just like you're a winner. Because if I got it, it's great. If I don't, I learned, and I can take another path.
Yeah.
So I advise everybody that reads me, don't just go through that decision process.
Yeah. Well, Dennis Waitley says, you know, the failure isn't the undertaker, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing. Don't fear failure. It's an opportunity to learn. And I think you said that really well.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so interesting that this idea of a decision. I actually wrote in my book, I said, okay, I'm going to paint a wall. I'm going to paint it pea green or fuchsia pink. You guys write to me and tell me what color I should paint it. Because I thought I can always repaint it. It's not, it's a decision, but it's not a life and death decision, right? Everybody was afraid to make the decision.
It's true.
Funny.
And that goes for men too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hilarious,
it's
really.
Universal. It's universal.
It is. But, you know, everybody has an opinion. Make the decision based on your opinion. I know we all have them.
Try. Have the tenacity.
Yeah.
True grit to just go for it. Even, I don't care how afraid you are. Just go for it. When I started writing, I accidentally or serendipitously I met a writer. I didn't know she was a writer. We just started a conversation, like you mentioned before. Strangers talk when they're women. And we started talking, and she said, well, what do you do here? This was in Rancho Mirage. And I said, well, I'm looking for a purpose. And she said, I can tell you what to do. And I looked at her and I said, please. And she said, if you keep a journal for 3 months and never miss a day, I promise you, you will find your voice. You will find your purpose. That really hit me. And I found out a minute later, because I said, how do you know? And she said, I know because I'm an author and I'm a writer. And so I took up this task. Was I afraid to make the decision? Sure. Did I do it? Sure. Because I wanted to. I wanted to try something new. And look where it led me. Look where I am today.
So does your husband miss you now? Does your husband miss you now?
Oh.
You're so busy?
You know, I'm in a second marriage. My husband and I were widowed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And yes, my husband misses me. And even though we're in the house together, I find that I'm so involved with writing my stories that I'm feeling guilty, because as I write about my husband, who I call my ultimate concierge, he truly is my best girlfriend.
Yeah.
And so I'm very fortunate to have such a wonderful husband. And yet I'm so caught up with Honey Good that I'm having my problems finding the forest from the trees. But I love my husband, and he knows that. And he
probably finds you much more interesting now.
What?
He probably finds you much more interesting. You've got so much going on.
I think he always found me interesting.
I'm sure he did. Who was Honey in high school? Who were you?
Who was I in high school?
Yeah, were you the leader?
No, I'll tell you what. I grew up in a little town that I named Kankakee by the Sea. And it was in the middle of a cornfield. But
really?
I wanted to romanticize it because it really gave me so much of my true grit and who I am today that I love Kankakee by the Sea. So I was a little Jewish girl in a family that was more than middle class. And I was living and surrounded with my friends whose fathers were blue-collar workers, and they were not Jewish. So I had to try harder. I had to try harder. And what I learned, what I especially learned, was to have empathy, because I knew how it felt to be alone or left out as a young girl. On the other hand, and that has boded me well today, because I am an empathetic woman. On the other hand, I found that I had to try harder. So, how was I in high school? Okay, I'll tell you. I had friends. I was on the student council. I had the lead in my junior and senior class play.
Of course you did.
I never was the prom queen or the Valentine queen, but I was on the court. And so I did quite well for myself in high school, but I always felt set apart. And maybe that's why today I love giving back. I don't really know why, but I felt lonely at times.
Yeah.
I did.
I think giving back is part of the human experience, but I can identify with you, because I lived in a small little town, the only Jewish little girl. My mother had a powder blue Cadillac, and I used to hide in the back seat when she drove through town because I was too embarrassed to be seen in her car. It was so funny.
What town?
Oh, it's in Canada. I live in Canada. Yeah, it was Newcastle. Yeah.
In Newcastle. What a pretty name.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's funny though, eh?
So we more or less had the same background.
Yeah.
I was thinking 10 minutes ago that would flash through my mind is that I think you should join Got Moxie now.
Okay.
And be part of my group.
Okay.
I think you would be such an asset.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't want you to feel obligated in any way. I'm really giving you a compliment.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I would love to join your group. I think it's a lot of fun. I don't know how good I do in groups, but I'll try.
I think you would do very, very well.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, so you were the lead in the plays. I could see that. And I love your sense of style, and I'm sure lots of women love your sense of style.
Thank you.
And you're a very good writer. I want to say that you are a very good writer.
Thank you.
You're funny.
I'm not a schooled writer. I'm a heartfelt writer.
Yeah, and that's even better.
And that's how I write. I just write how I feel, and I put it out there. And even though some of the women are different than their lifestyle is different than my lifestyle, we all bleed the same way. So we have all of that in common. And that is what draws my darlings, as I call them, to me, because I'm a heartfelt writer.
Was there any difference for you from 50 to 60? Like, did you, like, and where are you now? Like, have you found that there are things other than just the physical, aches and pains or whatever that we get as we age sometimes? Is there something that's different for you from those 2 decades?
I met my husband when I was in my 40s, and my 50s were a dream. The whole 10 years, except I was faced with illness. But I want to
talk about that if we can in a minute. Yeah.
And because I married a widower, he had an understanding of how I felt and reacted as a widow. But my 50s were the best years of my life. My 60s, my 60s have been great, but not like my 50s. But it has nothing to do with age.
Yeah.
It was a romantic time.
I felt my 50s were amazing too. 60s not as good as 50s, but I felt the 50s were really good. Like the new 30. I felt kind of, yeah.
I agree.
Now, I want to talk about your illness, but not yet. Let's talk about being a widow and widower. Because I'm remarried, but I was single for a time, and I dated a couple of widowers, and there was a shrine to the wife who had passed. And even if she wasn't perfect, she became perfect. How difficult is it? Maybe because you both had gone through it, but how difficult is it for women? I don't know if you're talking about it on Moxie or not, but it is something that you probably want to talk about.
I'm really hoping someone will lead a group for widows, especially in a blended family, which we all are in blended families.
Yeah.
The deceased is exactly as you said. They are on a pedestal. They can do no wrong. And it can be very, very difficult for both spouses or one spouse. In my family, I'll be very open. My husband's children love me, and I love them truly. On the other side of the coin, it's been very difficult with my daughters. And my husband, he's weathered it, but this was my rule. And this is how I handled it. For all of you out there listening, my husband always came first.
Yeah.
In my heart, did I sometimes want to put my daughters first? Of course.
Yes.
I'm a loving mother.
Yes.
I didn't. I wanted them to see two things. Number one, I wanted them to see loyalty between a husband and a wife, that was very, very important in any relationship. And two, I wanted them to understand that they had their life and now I have my life.
Yes.
And I love my husband.
Yes.
And that's what I did. That's how I handled it.
And is it just that your daughters felt that you were disloyal to their father who had passed by remarrying? Oh, okay.
I don't think they felt that. My daughters were raised in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Oh.
And Hawaiian families, the lifestyle, families were always together. Saturday night, you went out with other couples, but so did the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So when I met my husband, they missed me.
Oh.
And even though I tried and tried to be a good mom, nothing was good enough. And I did try. I was totally pulled in both directions.
How old were they?
They were in their one was in her late teens and the other was in her 20s. So they were not children.
They weren't children anymore, no.
But they missed me. Because as one of my daughters said, Mom, I always revered you. We were so together.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that was the problem. They missed me. And they got angry. And they're still angry.
20 years later. Wow. Yeah.
They're married and they have children and they have nice lives, but they still feel that.
Wow. That's too bad. I'm sorry for that.
Thank you. I'm being very open and honest.
No,
I know that other mothers out there are going through what I'm going through.
As a matter, my kids would kill me if I left my husband.
If you what?
If I left my husband, they were like, "We won't talk to you, Mom. Like, you can't go." Like they just love him so much. It's
And it's not their father?
No.
Oh,
No, they don't talk to their dad too much, but they love their, their
that's
stepdad.
wonderful.
And they're good kids. I got great kids, and he's got great kids, and I love all our kids, and they're great. Yeah, really love them a lot. Just like you do.
I love my kids too.
I know. Let's talk about the cancer.
Oh, the worst.
The worst.
The worst.
Yeah.
I mean, I still cry. It's just never gone.
Yeah. So many families are facing it, right? So many families are facing it today, but you got through it.
And this is my message. I believe I'm alive today, not by luck, a little bit of luck, but mostly because I was proactive about my health. None of us like going to doctors. It's not fun. But you must have a body scan at once a year. You must take care of your health. You must be proactive. And because I was proactive, the cancer was found 3 different times.
Oh, wow.
At the earliest stage. So I did not have to have any type of radiation.
Nice.
I didn't have to have any type of chemotherapy. I had surgery, and I went about my life. But did it take a toll on me? Does it take a toll on me? Not every minute of the day, but when I know I have to have a routine CAT scan, I don't begin worrying about it a week before. I begin worrying about it a month before. It's frightening.
Yeah.
The disease is frightening, and the only control you have is to be proactive about your health.
Yeah, I agree. And especially, people fear it, but man, if you catch it early, like you said, it's nowhere near as horrible as if you get it at the end and you can't do anything about it.
Exactly. And in my book, Stories from My Grandchild, I'm going to put this in my book. In the proper section, I don't have a section on are you ill?
Yeah.
What illnesses did you have?
Yeah.
I don't. But in my message, one of my messages is going to be proactive about your health. You only have one life, and you want to live it and live it long.
I think obstacles, come into all of our lives, and I think how you traverse them or go over under, I'm called the unstoppable because I went through some things, and it really, we don't know how tough we are. We really don't until we face adversity. And then you kind of get a sense of who you really are.
Did you ever have cancer?
I didn't have cancer. I didn't. I had a serious motorcycle accident where I broke lots of stuff. I was in the hospital for 6 months, and I had young kids. And so it was pretty tough time. And I divorced my husband in the hospital. I lost my job in the hospital. I was a drummer in a band. I lost the band. I was on the Dragon Boat team. We were going to Shanghai. That was gone. Everything. I lost everything that I self-identified with as me, except for my children. But here I am.
You didn't lose your life.
I didn't lose my life. And like you, I knew I had a purpose. There was a reason I didn't lose my life. And there was a reason I went through what I went through. And I knew it. And I never once questioned why me. I never said that. Not once. I knew why me.
I never questioned why me either. I really didn't.
Yeah.
I just was fearful.
It's scary.
It's scary. I was in a very bad car accident too. And because I was asleep, I was thrown out of a car.
Oh, wow.
But I was asleep. So
you were relaxed.
But mine wasn't as severe as yours.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. I'm facing surgery again this year because of it. And, hopefully it goes well and I get a better quality of life out of it. That'd be great.
And you have your husband as support.
Yeah.
And your children.
Yes, I do. And I've got wonderful grandchildren who I look forward to playing with. So it's, life is good. Life is good. I know there are millions of people who have life a lot worse off than I do. I know where my dinner's coming from today. You know, a lot of
Yes.
people don't.
I
Yeah.
know.
So it's is there? I was going to ask you, is there any kind of a component to Moxie Women, or maybe later on, that has a charitable component, or?
Well, I'm looking into that right now, and I'm very taken by Gary Sinise
Mm-hmm.
and Wounded Warriors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not just the warriors that lose limbs, lose their eyesight, lose their minds because of injuries, but what about the wives?
Yeah.
And what Gary Sinise does is he builds homes for wounded warriors. He does many other things also. So I am digesting that right now, and I think that that is going to be my charity.
Nice. I like that.
Thank you.
You know, I'm glad that you mentioned the caregiver, because they often get overlooked. And the caregiver is a super important role. They get fatigued just like anybody else. And it's like, oh, are you okay? Are you okay? But the caregiver's like, oh, you're all right. But they're not okay. Like, they need recognition. They need to get rest. They need some respite too. You know, it's hard looking after somebody who's not well.
And these homes that Gary Sinise builds,
Mm-hmm.
they are so modernized for people, for the men without limbs, etc.
Yeah,
That in itself is a great help
for
for
sure.
their wives and their children.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it again, like when you're the partner of somebody who maybe, you know, has going through something, this adversity, they're not always on their best behavior. Pain can turn you into a monster. You know, you're short, you're these kinds of things. And so they have to stand up to a lot of stuff. It's hard.
That's putting it mildly, isn't it?
I think it is. I think it is. I'm so excited for your book. I'm so excited for women to write their story in that book and to really
Thank you.
think about, you know, what their truth is. And I think that when they do it, they're going to find a new person at the end of it.
No, I just love what you said. I'm going to use that.
Go ahead, take it.
To find your truth. It's not just that you're writing your history. Find your truth. Put it in those pages.
Yeah.
Let your family see it. Let them. This is wonderful. I like that.
Let them
Thank
really see you. Wow.
Thank you.
It's hard to let the, you know, the dirty laundry out, but it's exciting too, to really show who you are, because so much, you know, when you're a mom, you hide a lot of things. You know, I mean, my kids will go, oh, you did acid? I mean, I didn't tell them that for years and years. Oh yeah. So now it's like, oh, you're a big acid head. I go, I did it once. I did it once. I was like 13 years old, right? I did it once. But it's, you know, it's funny when they look at you and they go, oh, like, you're kind of cool, you know, or
Yeah.
like you were.
And they feel closer.
They do, because you've shared, you know, you're not this icon. You shared, you're not perfect.
You know, there's so much we can share, you know, with our daughters. Besides all of the emotional facets of life, we can share our fashion sense.
Yeah.
We can share our travels. We can share all of our experiences. I know I do that. My mother, who's still living,
Nice.
it's because of my mother that I have my style. My mother taught me.
Nice.
She didn't actually say, wear this, don't wear that. Oh, she did a little. But I watched her. I liked what she did. I loved how she wore her accessories. I loved how she draped a scarf. Now we're the moms. We can pass this on to our children, and I can pass this on to the women who read my stories. They love to know how I dress. They love it. So,
well, you dress beautifully, and you know, your clothes are fun.
I hope so.
Yeah, they're fun.
And they love when I talk about my dog, America Good, because
oh, he's cute.
The dogs are a favorite ingredient in life after 50.
Oh, yeah. He's a doodle, your dog?
No, he's a soft-coated Wheaten Terrier.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's really cute.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So there's so much that we can, as moms, teach our children
Yeah.
besides their values. We
And
can
I
go
think,
outside that.
yeah, I think you can. And I know, like, my kids said to me, you know, they get in, my daughter especially is huge into volunteering because I did it. You know, I was
I did
always in the
it
community,
too.
and they see that. They saw that, and they go, you know what? They have community spirit and are community minded and have, you know, empathy for others, and will say, hey, you know what? Maybe we could go to a soup kitchen. Maybe we could go do this. Maybe we could do that. But she takes it to another level. Like, she's
So
incredible.
what are you involved in? What charities?
Oh, right now, well, I have. I'm an artist, so I paint,
Oh,
and I give money to. Um, oh my God, I just went it right out of my head. Um, uh, what's it called? Oh my God, honey! Like, when you get older, sometimes it's not good.
you're not old. You
Yeah,
just have a lot on your plate.
yeah. What is it? Come on, I talk about them all the time. Oh, Mercy Ships. So I give money to Mercy Ships for specifically for cleft palate surgery for children because it's a really quick fix. It's $250 and they're done in about 45 minutes. They got a new
Fabulous.
face. And VVF, which is vesicovaginal fistula. So that's when young girls, usually young, have trouble birthing. The baby's their birth canal is too narrow because they're young. They're like 14 or 15, and the baby can't come out, and there's nobody around to do a cesarean, and so that baby sits in the vaginal canal and it dies, and then it has to atrophy before they can expel it. But while it's doing that, it burns a hole between the rectum and the uterus, and so they leak fluid and they smell, and it's not very nice. So for $500, that's the surgery, what it costs, Mercy Ships will fix that. And then they're allowed back into their community, back into their home. Because imagine, like, you're married and you're thrown out of your village because you've got this horrible thing happening to you, and you're a mother and you didn't get your child. I mean, it's just a horrendous thing to happen. So I give money to that, and then to the donkey sanctuary because I love animals. So I give money to the animals and to save dogs and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm big into.
I love dogs.
I do too. I do too. I got a big dog sitting down there. Yeah. So there's a lot of charities that I give to and belong to, and I like it a lot. Even like, I don't even live in the U.S. and I gave money to the kitchens when the federal workers were off to the food banks. I gave money to the food banks for the federal workers so that they could eat. So it doesn't matter to me, and I've got kids through United Way or UNICEF or whatever it's called. A bunch of kids there too.
So you're busy.
Yeah, well, I'm busy doing lots of stuff, but it's important to me that I give. Yeah, giving's important to me, and my husband, oh, did you give to that? Yeah, I did. Pretty much, if you got your hand up, Frankie's going to give it to you. But it has to mean something to me, and I don't usually do it in the grocery stores when the grocery stores say, will you give $1 or $2 to, no, because that's a tax write-off for them. They don't care. That's just a big tax write-off. But if it has meaning for you, I suggest people give, because you're not going to miss, like, you don't miss $20 or $50 in the long run. You really don't miss it.
I agree.
So I think people can give. If everybody gave $1, everybody be eating and wouldn't be homeless and wouldn't be anything. I mean, it's incredible to think about it like that. Yeah. Yeah. So we got Moxie.
We got Moxie.
And we want people to have Moxie too, other women to have Moxie too. So they should come along and get some. If they don't have it, which you said they do, they just need to, like,
they have to ignite it.
Yeah, ignite it. There you go. I call it Mojo, you call it Moxie. Yeah, there you go. I love it.
They have to dare themselves to dare.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a wonderful feeling.
What's next on your steps? What's next for you? What's the big next thing?
Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, I just began doing podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
And I found that I love doing what you do. I love asking the question.
Who doesn't?
And I like the research. I like finding out about the person.
Yes.
So what I am doing now is I have made a promise to myself that I will do 4 podcasts a month
Good for you.
of very interesting women that my darlings on honeygood.com, on Be Moxie Now, will want to listen to. And as I mentioned, mine are just verbal at this point.
Right. And I might suggest that you do special ones too, where the women on your site, you can bring them on and have a round table discussion.
I was thinking of that.
It'd be so much fun.
Yes. I was even thinking of doing that on Facebook Live.
You should.
Because I do Facebook Live once a month. Who knows what's around the corner?
Yeah.
That's the exciting part of my life. Life is an adventure, and I'm ready for it. If my husband said to me, we're going here tomorrow, I'm ready. If I get a call from someone, or actually an email in my email box, would you like to try this? I'm going to try it. So aside from my podcast at this time, I'm going to wait and see what knocks on my door. And
so
then
is this a new attitude for you?
No, I've been this way all my life.
Okay. Good for you. Me too.
No, I've always been like that. To my mother's, I don't know. I've always been like this.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a good way to be. I'm the same way. I fear not having change. That's my fear. Not change, but not having change.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
If we lived in the same town, we'd be girlfriends.
Oh yeah, we would for sure.
But we still can be.
Yeah, we definitely can be. There you go. Well, Honey Good. I want to call you Honey Be Good for some reason, but
that's okay. You can. I like that.
So, yeah, honeygood.com. You want to go there.
Yes.
And you want to join up and become a Moxie woman. And just read these articles. These articles are fun. And the products that you choose are fun.
Thank you.
And they're relevant to women over 50, which is really exciting.
With my Be Moxie Now, the best way to become involved or to at least look at it is you can go to honeygood.com, and on the home page there's a prompt where you can fill in your name, email address, etc., and it will take you into the site and you will be able to register. Or you can go to www.bemoxienow and do the same thing.
So are you going to have something where, 2 Moxie women walking down the street will know that they're Moxie women?
Well, I have to tell you, here's my biggest dream, the dream.
Yeah, let's hear the dream.
Okay, here's my dream. My dream that makes me so happy is to have Moxie groups in every community in the United States. How I'm going to get there, I don't know. But I mean live groups where you go to someone's home. For example, I have a group that I started because of the word invisible. I mentioned that to you at the beginning.
Yep.
And this group of 10 women, we're in our 3rd year. We meet at my house every month.
Oh, wow.
On the first Wednesday of the month, and we're now in our 3rd year, and not one person has left the group.
That's awesome.
So my dream is to have these groups all over America called Moxie, Be Moxie Now, but I don't know how I'm going to.
And then you're going to have a big Moxie convention of these women.
I'm going to huge, because you know what, and I really mean this. This is true, and I write this. When I write my stories, I often say, I don't know you from afar, but I know we're friends.
Yes.
Because they write to me, and I reply to everyone. I reply to everyone on Facebook. I reply to everyone on honeygood.com. And so I have relationships, and I'm now recognized where people will come up to me. And it happened just Saturday. I was at a charitable event, and a girl came up to me and she said, I've been reading your stories for 2 years, and now I'm going to have lunch with her. So
Oh,
when somebody approaches me, then I even go out of my way to meet with them and to have lunch or have dinner with them, their husbands or their significant others, with my ultimate concierge. That's the name for my husband,
yeah.
because my husband does everything for me.
Nice.
I know. I'm lucky.
Very lucky. Good
So
for
are
you.
you.
Yeah, I am. No, I am very lucky. Okay. The book just came out. Everybody, you can go to Amazon. You can go to Honey's site, honeygood.com. You can go to Be Moxie now. This is just a wonderful experience. You're such an amazing woman. Thank you so much I'm so excited you were my guest today. I'm so excited that you're a podcast host. That's exciting.
Thank you.
You've joined the club.
Thank you.
and
I may email you.
Please. Yeah, no, please email me. And I'm just really excited that you have this wonderful vision, and that's what it takes. I call people who have vision and act actionaries. So you're a visionary who acts, that you become an actionary, and that you have a vision for the future. Because you know what? When you have a vision for the future, you're going to be in that future. You're not going anywhere.
It's very important. And I want to say this to every woman out there. Live outside the box. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Break down the box.
For it. Right?
Yep. Okay, honey, we're going to say goodbye to Facebook. Let's wave goodbye to our Facebook friends. We will see you on the other side.
Everybody. Thank you so much, Frankie.
We're not done yet. I'm going to stop this.
Enjoyed an interview as much as I have today.
Thank you. Let's stop.
Be well.
Okay.